So, we have a saying here at the Fisterhood, speak from the scar and not the wound. So, this is one that I can tell very much now from the scar, and that feels good. It's September of 2011, and I'm standing in line at the bank, clutching the check I'm waiting to deposit so tightly, my knuckles are turning white. Just breathe. This is no ordinary check. This is the check from the life insurance policy from my father who died in 2010. My dad wasn't just my dad. He was my person. You know, the one that you call and you talk to every day. The one that when you're traveling and you go somewhere, you have to tell them about it because otherwise the experience didn't really happen unless you share it with them. His death was still this hole in my life that I quite hadn't figured out how to navigate around. And this check felt like the final piece of a chapter I didn't know how to finish. I spoke the last words I would ever say to my father on Father's Day of 2010, the day he died. And I suppose that there's a certain poetry to that, but also an incredible brutality, which is the only way I can describe watching someone you love die slowly and painfully and in life-altering fashion over the course of a year and a half. My dad was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer that had already metastasized to the bones in an emergency room hospital, the hospital that took me hours of begging and pleading to get him to go to. And finally, at 3 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning in 2008, the doctor came in with that diagnosis. They gave him 6 months to live. He made it a year and a half. Thanksgiving to Father's Day. But at least I got to say goodbye over the phone on Father's Day. The line moves. Keep breathing. And after 18 months now of last-minute red-eye flights back and forth across the country because this time it was it, of sleeping in hospital rooms and in nursing homes, all I have left to show for it is a check in my hand for $4,000. Now, if you are sitting there thinking to yourself, gosh, that seems like an awfully small amount, you are correct. Especially for an only child, it is. But that is a whole other story. The line moves again. And we're breathing. Now, I'm not really paying attention to what else is happening in the bank. I'm just trying to maintain composure so I don't lose it on the teller when it's my turn and I am forced to speak. And besides, I have big plans for this check. I am going to use this $4,000 to pay off a $3,500 credit card that has been like an albatross around my neck for the better part of a decade. Now, I know $3,500 may not seem like a lot, but for somebody who up until this point has been a professional student and only able to make minimum payments, this debt was the financial equivalent of a haunted house of horrors, and I wanted out. I am going to finish this deposit. I will walk across the parking lot to where my office is located. Location, genius. I will log into my account. And for the first time in my adult life, click balance, pay in full, and finally be free. MasterCard is no longer going to be my master. I will then proceed to break down and cry hysterically in my office. I wanted that cry. I deserved that cry. This check, that damn credit card, and that cry was all I was thinking about. Except, there was this woman. I noticed her initially when I came into the bank, but I'm distracted. Dead father, check, cancer, MasterCard. She was visibly agitated, demonstrated hypermotor skills. She's shifting back and forth to the side. She also is demonstrating hypervigilance, scanning the room. It's September, it's warm, she's wearing a long coat, so she's not dressed seasonally appropriate. And my God, I don't want to deal with this right now. I'm trained to notice these things. I'm also trained to think about them in a very clinical capacity. In September of 2011, I am an intensive case manager at Providence Behavioral Health. I mostly work with teens and young adults, but one of my big jobs there is crisis response. So there actually used to be a time when you didn't have to call the police to respond to mental health and behavioral health crises. You could call mental health crisis responders. That's me. That is the training I am standing there with, and I don't have the bandwidth to use it. I'm trying to avoid my own mental health crisis as I am now next in line to speak to this teller who does not realize she is one question away from catalyzing the Mount Vesuvius of meltdowns. The question? Good morning, how are you doing today? She asks me about the check. I tell her. She offers her condolences. I say thank you. I just want to go back to my office and click that button, and oh my God, this woman. She's now come out of line and she's pacing back and forth at the front of the bank, and now I know this is definitely a mental health emergency. Now, like any good child of the 80s raised on PBS, all I can think of in my head right now is Mr. Rogers, because he would always say, look to the helpers. Aww. Now, I am uniquely qualified in this situation to be a helper, but all this helper wants to do right now is day drink. Damn you, Fred Rogers. Fine. I finish my deposit, I make it through, and as I turn to walk out of the bank, I approach her, and now she's standing with her hip to the side like this and her arms in the air, all crazy like. And as I stop to turn to speak to her, I say to myself, no, you do not have to be the one. And I turn and I start to walk away. And as I turn to do that, I can see her kind of turn to me and with her arms out like this go like, where the hell are you going? Sister, anywhere but here. And I walk out of the bank. I walk across the parking lot to my office. I triumphantly log into my account. And that's when I realized that the bank must have put a hold on my check because my funds weren't available and I wasn't able to pay off my credit card anyway. Oh, I had my cry, just not for the reasons I was anticipating. And that was that. I really didn't think too much of it. Until a few weeks later, I got this really weird call. It was from a detective from the Tucson Police Department. Hello? Yes, is this Melissa Blumenthal? Close enough. Sure. Yes, this is she. How can I help you? Yes, Ms. Blumenthal. This is Detective Copperson with the Tucson Police Department. Ma'am, I'm calling you today to follow up on the bank robbery that you were involved in a few weeks ago. We're just following up with everybody who was at the bank to ask a few questions so we can close out the case. Bank robbery? Detective, I'm so sorry. I wasn't involved in a bank robbery of any sort. I'm sorry, but I think you have the wrong number. Ms. Blumenthal, were you at the Compass Bank at the location of Speedway in Wilmot on the morning of September 20th, and on 10:36 a.m., did you not deposit a check in the amount of $4,000? Oh, shit. They are thorough. Yes. That was absolutely me, but there was no robbery at the time that I was there. Ms. Blumenthal, it's Blumenthal. Whatever. Ma'am, did you happen to see a woman in a long coat at the time you were at the bank? Oh, no. Oh, no. Yes, I did. I did see her. I noticed her. I know she was acting weird, but I actually went up to talk to her, but then oh no. What did you do? I walked out of the bank. Hello? Oh my God. I just, hi? Hello? Detective? But is that what she was doing? She was really robbing the bank? Yes, ma'am, she had a gun. Okay, but was it really loaded? Yes, it was loaded. Ooh. Okay, yes, I noticed her. I went up to talk to her, but then at the last minute, I changed my mind, and yeah, I just walked out. You want to hear something funny? I'm crisis response. I work over at Providence. She did not find that funny at all. I think TPD needs to get a better sense of humor. I thought that was hilarious. No. Look, detective, that morning I was depositing the check from my father's life insurance policy. My head was not in the game. I noticed the strange behavior and I went up to intervene, but at the last second, I decided not to, and yes, I just walked out. Okay. Look, it's a good thing you decided not to intervene. She did have a gun. In the future, just don't do that. Okay, look, was anybody hurt? No, nobody was hurt. Just a little shaken up. Oh, thank God. Did you get her? Oh yeah, we got her. She didn't make it far. Oh God. Look, I'm so glad nobody was hurt. I'm sorry, I can't be of more help. Look, Ms. Blumenthal, if you are ever in this situation again, just do not intervene. Leave that to us. One last professional dig. I let her have it, given the circumstances. Oh, yes, detective, absolutely, I will not intervene. Again, I'm sorry I can't be of more help. You have a good one. And that is how I discovered I had walked out of an armed bank robbery. I never saw the gun. That is when I also figured out that the reason why I couldn't pay off my credit card that day isn't because the bank had put a hold on my piddly little $4,000 check. It's because my deposit never made it through, because the bank was being robbed. Super sleuth. At the time this happened, people asked me, "You were standing right in front of her. How did you not see the gun?" My supervisor on the crisis response team was especially interested in the answer to that question. And the truth is, that morning, I barely saw the bank. So, how did I avoid getting taken hostage that day? Well, that was a team effort. Player one, profound grief. It blinded me to things that were happening right in front of me, but it also acted as a shield and protected me from one more thing I was not ready to carry. Player two, Providence Behavioral Health. It taught me to see the world through a different lens, but it also taught me that no is a complete sentence. And the first person you need to learn to say that to is yourself, before you're going to learn to say it to anybody else. Player three, my wildly inconsistent observational skills, which many a good friend and some ex-boyfriends will happily testify to. I kind of have to give them that one. And finally, a pinch hit special coming in from player four, who still somehow manages to show up when I need him to. Toda Bach. Thanks, Dad.